Bernie Sanders last time around won in the primary won 46% of the pledged delegates. People said that was impossible. He got more than 1 million individual donations, an average of $27, famously. I mean, the accomplishments, he completely changed the dialogue around the Democratic Party and what's possible in America. The guy who did it all, Bernie Sanders, has announced this morning he's running for president. And Bernie, welcome back to the program.
Hey, great to be with you, Tom.
It is so great to have you here, and it's so great to hear that you are officially running for president. Tell us about it. What there are so many issues that you literally have been the guy who was at the lead of. Whether it's Medicare for all, or the $15 minimum wage, or breaking up the big banks, or free tuition, or lowering drug prices. All the work that you've done over the years for veterans. Where do you start?
Well, I think we start where we left off, and I think you raised the right point. As a result of millions of people standing up and fighting back, we have changed the definition of what is possible in the United States of America. And as a result, I think, of the 2016 campaign, people are saying, you know what, every other major country on earth has health care as a right, not a privilege. Why can't we? Countries around the world provide free tuition at their public colleges and universities. Why can't we? Countries around the world pay their workers a decent wage. Why can't we? And also, what is even more significant now is the understanding that we have got to be extremely aggressive in dealing with the global crisis of climate change. And that's an issue we're going to be talking a whole lot about, because from an existential perspective, if we do not transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, and by the way, when you do that, you can create millions of good-paying jobs. If we do not do that, we're going to be leaving our kids and our grandchildren, and I have 7 grandchildren, a planet that is increasingly unhealthy and uninhabitable. So, Tom, those, certainly are some of the issues out there: criminal justice, immigration reform. But the other obvious issue is the need to deal with the most dangerous president in certainly the modern history of this country. And it gives me no pleasure to tell the listeners what they already know, that Trump is a pathological liar. It doesn't matter what he says today, because he'll say something different tomorrow. He is a racist. He is a sexist. He is a xenophobe. He is a religious bigot. And, it honestly gives me no pleasure to talk about a president of the United States in those words. But that is the simple truth, and Trump must be defeated. And I believe, after a lot of thought, that I am the strongest candidate to defeat Trump. I think we can win in states that Hillary Clinton lost, states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, other states. And the third point that I would make, Tom, about maybe what makes our campaign a little bit unique, is it is one thing to talk about health care for all. It's another thing to talk about raising the minimum wage or the need to transform our energy system. But what I believe from the bottom of my heart, and you have heard me talk about this for many years on this show, is that the powers that be, the special interests in the fossil fuel industry, on Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industry, all of these special interests are so powerful that the only way they can be defeated is through an unprecedented grassroots movement of millions of people who are standing up and fighting back. So it's not just ideas. Ideas are important, but we need to mobilize people. And today, what we are asking of people, we're asking people to contribute money. That's great. But more importantly, we are asking 1 million people in the next week or so to sign up and work on this campaign, to put together an unprecedented, historic grassroots campaign, which not only will win the Democratic nomination, not only wins the general election, but also begins the process of transforming American society so that we have a government that works for all of us and not just a few.
Yeah, this is the second part is the really big challenge. I mean, Franklin Roosevelt became president, and then in 1936, when he was running for re-election, he was coming right out and saying, they never before have the forces of greed hated such a candidate as much as they hate me, and I welcome their hatred. That pulling together of a coalition, pulling together the people of the country, is really going to be the biggest job of the next president, assuming that you know, and of Congress and everything else. You know, how do we most effectively do this?
Well, here's what we do. You know, what Trump does is what demagogues historically have done. I don't want to give him too much credit. He did not develop this strategy. It's what demagogues have done for a long time. You represent the wealthy and the powerful, and you do that by dividing people up, often picking on minorities. That's kind of the history of this stuff. And our job is to do exactly the opposite. It's to bring blacks and whites and Latinos, Native Americans, Asian Americans, women, men, gay, straight, native-born, immigrant. We bring our people together, and we demand a government which starts working for all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors. So we have a fight in front of us to transform our economic and political life, to create a democracy of one person, one vote, not the Koch brothers and other billionaires buying elections, not voter suppression, not excessive gerrymandering, to create an economy which does not allow three people, and this is really unbelievable, and very few people talk about it. We got today, Tom, you got three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of America. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%. You got 46% of all new income going to the top 1%. And you got a billionaire class that says, oh, wait, that's not enough. I need massive tax breaks. Let's cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. You know, it is really out of control. So we need to mobilize the American people around an agenda which people already support. And, you know, I hope that we can even reach out to some of Trump's supporters who now understand that he lied to them, as he often does. He told them that he would protect working families, and then he proceeds to try to throw 32 million people off of the health insurance they have. That's not protecting working families. He comes up with a budget after campaigning on saying, I'm not going to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. He has a budget last year, $1 trillion cut in Medicaid, $500 billion in Medicare, $72 billion in Social Security. He lied. So, you know, we got a lot of work in front of us. But to answer your question, our challenge is to bring people together around a progressive agenda, an agenda that in many ways is supported by the vast majority of the American people, defeat Trump, and then roll up our sleeves and take on the big money interests who exert so much influence over our economic and political life.
Amen. And last question, though, if people go to, I'm assuming it's BernieSanders.com is your campaign website. Correct. So if people go to the website and they say, yes, I'd like to be one of those million people, what is the range of kinds of help that people can offer? What sorts of things?
Tom, that's a great question, and I hope everybody understands this. Look, we know that there are some people, you know, who have 3 kids and they're working full time. They don't have a whole lot of time. We will take whatever you can give. If it's an hour a week, 2 hours a week, 2 hours a month, that's great. If you have more time, that's great. So yes, we would love, you know, small campaign donations, but more important at this stage is to do what has never been done. Can you imagine, Tom, if in a couple of weeks we can announce that we have 1 million people who are prepared to work hard on this campaign? Wow, if we can do that, I think there is no stopping us.
Yeah, amen. Well said. Well, Senator Sanders, I wish you the very best. I am so pleased that you are in this race, and BernieSanders.com is the website, obviously. Thank you so much.
Tom, thank you very much for all the great work that you do.
It has been
in terms of being one of the great progressive voices on radio. So keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, Bernie, and thank you so much for being a part of this show for so many years and for being on our show today. We'll talk again soon, I hope.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.